Thank you so much for coming to the Gorilla Logic website. My name is Deborah Langer, and I'm very excited to be sharing with you the FlexMonkey demo. We conduct webinars every month, and we had a lot of requests to please record them and put them on the website so that they would be accessible at any time. So we've gone ahead and done that, so welcome. Here's my email address, deborah.langer@gorillalogic.com. If you have any questions, if they're technical questions, the forum is a better place to go. If you have any business questions, then happy to answer those for you. Just a little bit about Gorilla Logic in general before we start our demo. The company was founded in 2002, so we're coming up on 10 years old. It was founded by two former Sun Microsystems executives. Stu Stern, our CEO, had headed up worldwide professional services for Java, and Ed Schwartz, our CTO, headed up worldwide e-commerce. We are located in Boulder, Colorado, and like I mentioned, the company is certainly led by industry veterans that understand large-scale, complex software development systems. But most people know us as the creators of several open-source functional testing tools for both mobile development as well as rich internet applications. If after viewing this demo and after using some of the other community available tools, if you feel like you are interested in more hands-on type of training and support, we do offer what we call quick starts. They range from 1 week to 4 weeks, and we also have an annual support contract. And during those weeks, it's basically a chunk of time that is dedicated to you with the FlexMonkey project owner, who's Mike Wells. And during that time, he can do whatever you like. Some examples of what he has done in the past is hands-on training for QA teams. He can help you address, record, and playback issues. He can help bootstrap your continuous integration environment, and even if there's enough time, customize FlexMonkey tool to work with your particular application. So if you're interested in that, then please let us know. A little bit about Gorilla Logic. Like I mentioned, we are a 10-year-old company located in Boulder, Colorado. We have 60 developers. We specialize in delivery of software services for web and mobile. We can do anything that you might need within the software development lifecycle, whether it's soliciting requirements at the very beginning, doing whole projects beginning to end, or if it's doing performance engineering or architectural analysis towards the end before you take your product live, we can help you with that as well. We also offer a whole suite of quality assurance services that we recently launched a whole new service line around, so whatever your needs might be, we are happy to help. Like I mentioned, FlexMonkey is just one of the open source tools that we have. We also have FlexMonkium that has the Selenium IDE plugin to work in conjunction with FlexMonkey. But two of our open source mobile tools are PhoneMonkey for iOS, designed to work on applications for the iPhone and iPad, and PhoneMonkey for Android that we just launched in San Francisco in October. We are very excited to make that announcement. And so now you've got FlexMonkey, FlexMonkium, PhoneMonkey for iOS, and PhoneMonkey for Android. And if you're accustomed or becoming very comfortable working with FlexMonkey, you certainly have a leg up because these other tools, if you have mobile development in your future, operate very similar. Here's a snapshot of some of the customers that we've worked with. And as you can tell, many of them are Fortune 500 companies who already have established QA teams, engineering teams, development teams, and usually they engage Gorilla Logic when they need training in some of our tools, when they need to outsource whole projects, if they need a particular skill set, or if they have peripheral projects that they do not want their development and quality assurance team spending time on, then they can outsource those to Gorilla Logic. But whatever you might need, please let us know. And I know that everyone is anxious to get the demo started, so let me go ahead and turn this over to Mike Wells.
Hi, and welcome to Gorilla Logic. I'm Mike Wells, as Deborah mentioned, the owner of the FlexMonkey project. I'm going to go through some slides today about FlexMonkey. The slides that I'll cover today are available on the internet at the address on your screen. You can pause me and type in the address, or click the link below to download them in PowerPoint format. Before I get too far into FlexMonkey, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and why I find the FlexMonkey project so important. I'm a senior consultant with Gorilla Logic. I cut my proverbial software teeth in the finance and insurance industries, writing Java apps, and moved over to the entertainment industry a while back and started working with Flex in 2008 after the Flex 3 SDK was released under the Mozilla public license. From the beginning, I found Flex applications, and all UI applications for that matter, to be hard to test. Components move around, and the UI is in constant flux, keeping up with business and creative needs and user demands. When we developed FlexMonkey, we kept these and other concerns that burden the agile-minded development team paramount. We're passionate about making testing Flex applications easy and productive. Today I'm going to go over what FlexMonkey is, how you use FlexMonkey, how FlexMonkey fits into your software development lifecycle, how FlexMonkey works under the covers and ties into the Adobe Automation Framework and what exactly the Adobe Automation Framework is. And I'm going to touch on how to use FlexMonkey for automating functional testing in your application. FlexMonkey is an open source project released under the GPL Copyleft license, owned and governed by Gorilla Logic. The GPL Copyleft license basically says that you're allowed to use and edit our software in any way, shape, or form. You can even release it as part of your software as long as you don't charge for your software. We really want you to be able to use FlexMonkey however you wish, but we do not want you to use our hard work to earn yourself a profit. We're a well-established brand in the Flex space. The first version of FlexMonkey was released in 2009. That's about a year after the Adobe Automation Framework was first released. And since then we've had over 15,000 downloads of the FlexMonkey tool. We believe the secret to such a rampant adoption of this tool was our community. We provide a forum for Q&A and customer support. We also have 3 Gorilla Logic employees who answer the forum post. This, paired with tons of internet content and documentation about FlexMonkey, makes it very easy to get unstuck on hard problems. We release about once a quarter with new features that users have asked for. We prioritize these features based on community feedback, and we focus on the issues that are causing concern for most of the people in the forum. And also we focus on issues that we find ourselves in different development shops in which we do our quick starts. So whenever we go in and do quick starts, we find different things that we need to change about the software fall out of that. We are an open source project, and we do very much appreciate community code contributions. If you see an error or a change that you'd like to see implemented, please crack open the code and help us all out. FlexMonkey is a record and playback tool for building functional automated tests for Flex applications. FlexMonkey is different than older automation test recorders because it doesn't use coordinate-based actions. For example, a mouse click at X250, Y300. The component-based approach makes your tests more robust and resilient to change. Our tests look a lot like what you see here in the bulleted list on the screen. In the first example, a button named OK was clicked. In the next example, the name Fred was inserted into the component with the ID first name. And then the state combo is being told to select the value New York. In addition to being able to send any flex command to any component identified by any property, we provide the ability to do verifications. A verification is like an assert if you're familiar with JUnit tests. These verifies are capable of testing any property on any component in your application. In addition, we can test bitmaps of screenshots of any component that you have as well. So you can test, for very complicated tests, you can test that an expected screenshot matches a screenshot that you were hoping for. One of the first questions that people ask when we start this demo is what language the tests are written in, and how do you hack these tests. We store our project files in XML in a very non-cryptic format. It's easy to record a test and then open and edit the XML, doing things like copy and pasting a test 50 times. Perhaps a more elegant and powerful way to expand on your recorded tests are to export them as ActionScript. FlexMonkey provides an export as ActionScript function that dumps your tests into a complete ActionScript Flex Unit 4 test package. These tests afford you the power of the entire Flex SDK for doing things like control flow and data driving. This test package can be run alongside your current unit tests as part of your build process and integrated into your continuous integration environment. Continuous integration environments that we've supported in the past have been Jenkins, Hudson, Cruise Control, and Bamboo. When a suite of FlexMonkey tests that have been created by stakeholders or QA get run on your application before every release in your CI environment, you can be confident that the quality is built into every release. So the next question you might be asking is, how do I hook FlexMonkey up to my app? Well, I'll tell you. The way FlexMonkey works is that we build our FlexMonkey link SWIC into your application. The SWIC of FlexMonkey code talks to the automation framework provided by Adobe, which talks to your application. FlexMonkey is able to talk to the code that we provide in our SWIC through the Flash.net local connection class. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the FlexMonkey and a test project and show you how easy it is to link FlexMonkey into your app and build a test. This is a test application that we built at Gorilla Logic to test the FlexMonkey and to demonstrate its functionality. It's a contact manager that allows you to put in a name and keep track of your contacts. For anybody who spent any amount of time on Flex, you would know that this is a very, very simple application. So I'm going to so let's say I've started out with this application and I've decided I'd like to be able to test this application with FlexMonkey. So I'm going to install FlexMonkey, and the instructions for doing that are on our website. And then I will need to link FlexMonkey into my application. And to do that, I open FlexMonkey, click on the Project and Properties view, then drop this down and select your SDK version, which I'm using SDK 4.5. And then you can just drag and drop this, which is our SWIC library, into your library. And also change your compiler properties to include the Adobe Automation Framework libraries. This is important, as I said before, because we use the Adobe Automation libraries for record and playback. And once you've done that and you start your application, you will see that FlexMonkey moves from the not connected state to the connected state. As you saw whenever I pulled up FlexMonkey, this is the look and feel that we have inside of FlexMonkey. There's a toolbar on the left side. The main content of your tests is here in the middle. Whenever you click on a record button, a record buffer comes up. We had to make this record buffer because we found originally we recorded to wherever your cursor was in your test, but we found that record buffer was a lot easier to be able to drag and drop tests into your application. You also see inside this tool palette we have several different buttons over here. All these are drag and drop, so you can just drag any of these items over into your application to add any one of these. There's some explore functionality, a little bit of a way to change the views. You can see a summary of your tests. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the FlexMonkey now, and show you how easy it is to record a test. So back again to our Monkey Contact Manager. I have the Monkey Contact Manager and FlexMonkey pulled up, and just as earlier we have the SWIC linked in, so we're connected to the application. So in order to get started creating a test, I hit the Start Recording button, and then I just go through and start making my test. You can see as I'm typing that the information is coming over into the record buffer. Also, events are coalesced, so you don't get an M event was sent to the text box. An I event, you have my full name was sent to the text box. That degree of coalescing can be adjusted also. So I'm just going to make a simple happy path test where I add in a name and then delete it. And now I'm going to add this to my existing test suite. You can do so by just saying drag all these items over into this new test, and now they're a part of my project. I might want to call this suite the data entry suite, and then I can call this case the happy path case. And this can be the happy data entry. So I can play this test back immediately after I've recorded it. And you can see all these actions go through as I've just recorded. So now I have this test, but I'm not really testing anything in this test other than that I was able to make command calls. So I'm going to create another test that makes a verify as well. So you can just drag a test to copy it, and I'm going to call this one happy data entry now with verify. So to create a verify, I can just drag one of these commands in. So I'm going to drag a grid verify command in right after I've added the name, and I'm going to verify that row 0 column 1 equals what I've typed in. So what this is going to do is, in this position in my test, it's going to test that row 0 column 1 equals Mike Wells. So we'll run this test, and you can see that it did in fact equal Mike Wells. Whenever we record actions in FlexMonkey, we record a property value pair that helps us find the component. And this property can be any property on the Flex component, and of course any value. So you could set the target property as the ID. You can use the automation name, which is our preferred property to use. All Flex components have the automation name field. Most developers don't set the automation name field because it's not necessary for development, but it was put there for automated testing, so it is very nice to use. We also can send in arguments. For instance, whenever I was entering in Mike Wells into the application earlier, I was sending the input Mike Wells into the component with the name in name, and in this test it's sending the name Fred into in name. And you can also specify retry parameters. So here again we have our Monkey Contacts application, and this is the source code. This is the in name field that we've been using for entering in names, and I'm gonna take off. As you can see, I have an ID specified for this and an automation name specified for this. So I'm gonna take those off and remove the code that accesses those, and show you how we actually generate a monkey ID whenever we can't find any type of automation name. So I'm going to go ahead and run this, and I still have FlexMonkey started up here, and you can see when it starts up it goes to connected. So I'm going to start recording a test. I'm just going to delete the stuff that's in my buffer now, and I'm going to come over and start typing Mike Wells over here, and as you can see, we didn't use the automation name anymore. We use this property called monkey ID now that we don't have an ID or automation name specified. And you can see that this monkey ID is a combination of the container name, the class type, and an ordinal representing how many of these classes exist in that container. We also have the concept of a retry. A retry is something that happens if FlexMonkey fires an event and the event doesn't return back whenever it sends the event in, and then it tries to retry to send that event. Times whenever you might need this might be if you're trying to send an event to a component that hasn't rendered on the screen. It may take a while for the component to render, so these retries fire again to retry the event. You can set the delay as in milliseconds as to how much time you'd like to wait in between attempts, and we also have this concept of retry only on response, and what that means is basically retry only if there's an exception that's been thrown. Don't retry just because some component didn't return anything. This eliminates a lot of need to add pauses. Reasons why you might add a pause in a script is sometime waiting on a server response or something like that to come back. So back over in the Monkey Contacts FlexMonkey view, I'm going to create a new test to be able to test the verifies. I'm just going to start by recording, adding a new contact in, and as I do this, I'm going to think of ways that I can add verifies into here. So I'm just going to create this as a totally new test suite and call it the verify suite. And in the verify suite, I'm going to have a verify test case, and inside that verify test case, I'm going to have this first one, verify property. These on the left, all these check marks are the verifies, and I'm going to create a verify property right after I've entered in this name, and I can do that after I've drug the verify into my test. It brings up my application to be able to select which component I'd like to select for the verify. After I select that component, it brings up a list of properties that I can test. I want to test the text property, and that has created a verify that verifies the text property, as you can see here. Whenever I created this verify, it also made a snapshot, so I can see this snapshot. If I were to choose to do so, I could test based on that snapshot as well. So let's just run this, and as you can see, Jim Wells is already written in there. So yep, looks like it passed. So this verify that this name was Jim Wells is verified correctly. So let's try something a little bit more complicated. After we've added this name, let's check and see if the name was actually added. So I'm going to do that by choosing the data grid and checking to see if it's data provider dot length is greater than 0. For those who don't already know, a data grid has a property called data provider, and that data provider is just a collection which has a length. So we can test that value. So we can test this real quick to see if that works, and it does. It is greater than 0. It actually equals 1. So so we've done a test to show that the add worked correctly. But maybe we want to check to be sure that the actual name that's in that field is what we typed in. So now we can go, I've just done a grid verify. I'm going to select the grid, And now I get this option of selecting which row and column I'd like to verify on. So I'm going to verify that grid row 0, column 1 equals as I've specified in my test. So I can run this whole thing and verify all these different properties. FlexMonkey is also provided as a Selenium plugin. Selenium is the most popular tool for testing HTML applications. And most Flex applications are embedded inside of an HTML application, so it stands to reason that we would make a plugin for Selenium. Selenium exports JUnit tests for Selenium RC, and it also supports HTML and Flex hybrid application testing in a way like if you had a login screen before your Flex application and your login screen was written in HTML, you could send your HTML commands in and then your Flex commands in all in one test. And it's also very convenient to have the test written in Java as well. If you have a huge amount of power to be able to use Java for your tests. I'm going to pull up Selenium now and give you a little demo of how the Selenium plugin works. Back to our Monkey Contacts Manager. The Selenium plugin is a Firefox plugin that you can get from Selenium's website, and then the FlexMonkey plugin plugs into the Selenium plugin. So I can click on Selenium IDE here, and you can see this brings up the Selenium console, and you can see that I have this little gorilla over here, and that means that Selenium's installed. So I can click here and see my FlexMonkeyum console. FlexMonkeyum is the branding that we chose to use for the integration into Selenium, Monkeyum, get it? Anyway, this little green light here means that I'm connected to a Flex application. So in the same way that I did tests in FlexMonkey, I can write these same tests in Selenium, and Selenium will record each one of these events. So I've just recorded that same happy path that we went down, and you can see all of these commands are just getting fired over to here. And also, as I mentioned before, you can export these as Java as well. So one of the sort of quirky things about Selenium is that you have to save before you can export anything. So I'm just going to save this as happy path test, and then I'm going to file, export as FlexMonkeyum JUnit Selenium RC, and I can just choose. I'm going to save it to the desktop. I'm going to call it demo.java. Once you've built your FlexMonkey test, there are 3 different ways to run these tests. You can run them interactively, which is through our FlexMonkey console, just as I demonstrated earlier. You can just hit the play button after you've recorded them and see each of your tests run. The scripts are stored as XML files. You can generate the action script from those tests. You can also run in a mode that we call the linked mode. In the linked mode, you link your tests in, and they're run automatically whenever your application starts up. This is really good for being able to run under the debugger. A lot of developers use this type of running to be able to get to a certain problem area. That if they, let's say that it's several screens in to the application where the problem is, or you have to add 100 rows to be able to get to this particular problem. Well, you can just run these tests in the debugger, and it does all that for you with no having to point and click through the screens. Whenever you export into ActionScript, the ActionScript can be extended, and you can make calls in and do flow control and data driving. We also have a way to run that uses an ant target, a Flex unit ant target that launches a browser and runs a test. And this is how we integrate into continuous integration servers, and we output to JUnit and HTML. In order to run the tests in the LinkedIn mode or from Ant, you have to export the tests as Flex unit tests in ActionScript. Here's the FlexMonkey test that we just created, the happy data entry and the happy data entry with verification. And you can export these into ActionScript by clicking on File and Generate Flex Unit Tests. After doing this, a tests directory will be created, and you'll see this test monkey test controller was also created, which is the actual launcher for your tests. And then all these test suites were created too. This data entry suite. For every suite I get a package, and for every case I get a package, and then all my tests are in one package inside of that. So here's the test where we entered in my name and we did the regular happy path, and here's the one with a verify on the end, where we did the verify grid and verified that my name Mike Wells was in there. So in order to run these in the LinkedIn mode and run from the ActionScript, I can just click on my project, go to Properties, Flex Compiler. I'll add this dash includes, and then the name of my parent runner class, which was FlexMonkey Test Controller that we just saw just a moment ago. So whenever I run this now, it runs through my test automatically. To run these same tests from Ant, you can use our build file that's in this project. This monkey context project that I've been working on and showing you is in our repository, and you can come here and check out the example of how we use the Flex unit target to run the tests from Ant. And if you just run this Ant file, it will run the tests also. One thing that you need to be sure of is that all your Firefox windows are closed before you launch these tests, because of the way that the Flex unit tests work. They have to have only one Firefox open, and you can see that this Ant task just opened up the app and then ran through it, and you can see all my tests were successful, and it generated this report that I can also look at to see. And these are in HTML here as well. So if I wanted to come in and if I wanted to post these to a server somewhere and see how I'm doing on my test suites, I could just automatically post these to the server from the CI server. So in summary, FlexMonkey is really easy to install. It's easy to use. It generates code for you, Java JUnit if you use the Selenium plugin, ActionScript and Flex unit if you use the Monkey console. It saves by default in XML, and in Q1 we will be releasing the JavaScript API as well. From our community feedback, we found a lot of QA folks like to write tests in JavaScript, so we'll be providing that functionality in Q1 of next year in 2012. It's free and open source. We have a high velocity community, and I look forward to hearing from you on the forum. That's the end of the presentation. Thanks a lot for viewing.